All right. Well, thank you all for coming out. Really appreciate you taking your time out on a Tuesday night to come and join us, find out more about the R9 Accelerator. We're here to give you information and then, more importantly, get questions from you. So we're going to try to craft the majority of this time as time that you can ask questions and accost us about anything related to this. This is your opportunity. What we cover here, by and large, is on the website, but we'll give it a little bit more color, more depth. And then you'll get to hear from all the people that will be on the team that are going to be running the program. So, put down one. We'll hear from Andrew. He runs the Result 9 Better Public Services for Businesses group. And we'll hear about what is R9 and why are they doing an accelerator? Why are they doing another accelerator? They've already done one. My name is Brett Holland. I run Acceleration Services. Kind of like the title, Head of Acceleration. It's kind of funky. Here for Creative HQ. Sean O'Keefe, who is standing right there with the funky Lightning Lab shirt coat over it. He's going to run the program. He just came off of running a Lightning Lab program called Lightning Lab Manufacturing. He'll be running this R9 program. Chrissy Little will be talking about, she actually keeps us all in line. She's our senior project manager. She's going to be talking about some of the IP policy as well as the contracting involved. And Mike, who's beside me here, is running the R9 Rev Up, which is a pre-accelerator event, critical pre-accelerator event that we'll be having in January that we encourage you all to sign up for and go to, and he'll be telling you all about that. So, without further ado, I'll introduce Andrew Barsley, or I already did. I'll let him talk.
Thank you, thank you. Hi, I'm Andrew Barsley. Welcome. It's great to see you here tonight. Few familiar faces. I'm going to just set a little bit of the context from the government's point of view as to what Result 9 is about and why Result 9 is interested in this sort of accelerator process and piece of work. So every year 800,000 businesses do their stuff, try and make some money, grow New Zealand, and in the process they have to interact with government. Sometimes they get some value from that, more often than not society as a whole gets value from that. There is about 550 pieces of legislation that says businesses need to do the following, or that provides services. There's over 70 different government agencies interacting with those businesses. That total effort of that interaction is in the vicinity of about $5 billion worth of compliance cost each year. That might sound bad. By international standards, New Zealand does very, very well. In fact, we are rated as #1 and #2 in terms of ease of doing business. So we do pretty well, but $5 billion is a lot of money, and if businesses aren't directly benefiting from it, the government's saying, actually, we'd like that number to come down. In fact, we're going to set a high-level target to take out a quarter of that by 2017. And that means you government agencies who are delivering those services, putting together those compliance requirements, we're needing you to do something quite different than you have ever done before. And those differences, they simplification of what is currently too complex, digitalisation of services, sharing of information, joining up services where that makes sense, using third-party capabilities. So 8 of the key government agencies, of those 70, there's 8 that have the most to do with businesses. That's Inland Revenue, ACC, MB is the lead agency. It's probably got the broadest reach across of all of the services and compliance requirements for business customers. So 8 of the core agencies are part of what we're calling Result 9. They've got together a project team to try and map out the pain points for business customers, and then to try and help agencies to work together the roadmap of initiatives that's going to make life better for business customers. At the end of the day, we are desperate to make a difference for business customers, to get out of their hair or to add more value than we are adding at the moment. Project's been underway for since 2012, and it has delivered a number of benefits for business customers. In fact, the way that we measure the total effort, effort's gone down in the vicinity of about 12% since we started, give or take. So some quite good progress. We're on the way to the 25, but we need we need to make more difference, more initiatives than we've currently got, and there are great ideas out there that we haven't yet identified. There's more pain points than we have solutions for at the moment. And that's the introduction to why the Accelerator. What we've found over the 3 years of the program to date is that the way that the government works normally, there takes quite a long time to get anything identified, tested, funded through the business cases, and the concept of using an accelerated methodology to take a 2 or 3 year process and to crunch it through in something like a 12-week process is very appealing for us. It doesn't suit all of the problems, it doesn't suit all of the opportunities. But last year we took a bit of a punt on an accelerator process for government. We ran an Accelerator 1, which in many, many ways was highly successful for us, to the extent that we're now running an Accelerator 2, which is going to be even better and bigger than what we had in Accelerator 1. We're really excited about, I guess, public sector as a whole, developing and learning about new methodologies, new ways of making a difference in quicker time, co-designing with customers, and sharing a whole bunch of the experience that the private sector already has in this space. So we're partnering with these guys, and we're, I guess, excited as to what we've achieved in Accelerator 1, and we think that this is a great opportunity, both for government, for business, as customers of government, and also for private sector to come and be part of Accelerator. So that's the context. You're going to share what Accelerator is.
Absolutely. Thank you, Andrew. All right, let's get down to it. Who all here has heard of Lightning Lab? Everybody here? Oh, good. Well, this makes it easy. Not everyone. So Lightning Lab, anybody heard of these? Techstars, Y Combinator? These are accelerator programs. They've been around for a while. Y Combinator is in Silicon Valley. It's been around since 2006, I believe. These guys are around 2009. We started Lightning Lab here in New Zealand in 2012. And it's basically a program where we take in cohorts of startup teams and we work them through a process where they discover product market fit for their products, and they work on getting user adoption and user growth. All of the programs really specialize in that. That's what acceleration is all about. These programs are typically 3-month programs. Lightning Lab is. What we're doing here in R9 is a 3-month program. They have teams and cohorts of teams, so 8 to 10 teams that go through it all together. So it's not a new model. What is new is applying it to government. Like Andrew said, we've done it once before. It was a grand experiment. It actually worked pretty well enough to do it again. So what we're doing is this eye chart. So, and I'll walk through it. This is the accelerator. This is 3 months, right? But there's a lot of work that leads up to it, and there's work that happens afterwards. So what we've done so far is we've identified opportunities within the agencies that make up R9. So it's the agency folks that have said, you know what, we've got these issues, these problems that we're having a hard time solving. We've got these opportunities for having innovative solutions take hold. What if we put them inside this environment? What if we support them with resources? What if we set aside budget to keep working on them if they work out well inside the accelerator? What if we actually put our own staff in there? Can we attract people, entrepreneurs? Can we attract our own staff? And can we bring an environment together where they have the room to operate to solve these problems in an innovative way? So right now we have, and if you go to our website, r9accelerator.co.nz, you'll see the opportunities that we've identified that the agencies have come to us and said, we want to solve this. We want to put the resources behind it. We would support solving these issues. Now we're in the process of attracting people from both the public sector and the private sector to come join us to form teams in this accelerator. And one of the main events that we're having to do that is called Rev Up. It happens at the end of January. And like I said, Mike's going to tell you all about that. Once we go through that process, by the 5th of February, we'll take all the applications for the program and we'll make a selection for the up to 8 teams that'll go through the program. Then by the end of February, we'll run a boot camp 3 to 4 day boot camp to get everybody in the right mindset, let them understand what they're up for the next 3 months, and then boom, by the 7th of March, we're going to start this process. We'll talk more about what goes in the 3 months a little later, but what comes out the back end is the demo day, which is a dedicated event for pitching what you've accomplished effectively. What's your solution? What kind of market traction have you gotten, that product market fit? How many users have you gotten to say they want to use it or have signed up for it? And what kind of proof do you have that this is the right way to solve this problem? And you're pitching it then back to those agencies as well as private sector investors in some cases and other stakeholders that may be interested in supporting you going forward to develop it. We have services at the back end that can help incubate that. As a matter of fact, in the last program, we've got a team that's sitting right over there. They're in Creative HQ. They're still working on building that solution that they developed out of the Accelerator last time. So we're looking at this as a process that actually starts now and can go on not only till June, but even beyond for the next 9 months beyond that. Okay? So we want to talk to you guys about a team. Presumably that's what you're here for, to understand, well, how do I participate? And this is really an information session about folks who are interested in being in a team primarily. A team is 3 to 5 people, private and or public sector people. In the past program, we typically had 1 entrepreneur and 3 or 4 folks from the public sector, but we're open to a mix of teams. We have funding for 8 teams to come in the program, and we're looking for the characteristics of visionaries, hustlers, designers, and developers. Well, what does that mean? So visionaries are folks that really see the potential in the solution or the potential in solving the problem ultimately. They're the ones that carry the flag up the hill. They're the ones that can show the vision to everybody involved, all the team members, all the stakeholders, as to what we can accomplish by solving this problem. Right? Hustlers are the folks that can sell ice to Eskimos. They are the ones that see no barriers. They go around everything to make sure that this thing goes forward. Sometimes visionaries and hustlers are one and the same. They don't have to be. They're critical, though. You don't really have a good, effective team without both. Designers and developers are the stuff that actually you're getting done. So designers, we don't mean just graphic designers. We mean designers who understand the system design that is required to make this solution a reality, to address the problem that they've identified and put a solution together that actually works. Developers, well, they're the folks that are actually putting code in place to make it work, right? In some cases, we can provide help with those, but it's good to have them on the team as well. So an ideal team has all 4 of those capability sets in the team. There's the team. What we're trying to do with the Accelerator program is surround the team with support. So that support starts first and foremost with domain experts. We have people that will come in and work with you on sales process, on marketing, on good hacking techniques, that'll work with you on agile techniques as well. We have agile coaches that come in and work with you. The next level is we have mentors that are from the private sector. So through the work that we've done with Lightning Lab, we've got about 250 mentors around New Zealand that are startup experts, that are some of the most accomplished entrepreneurs and, in New Zealand that give back to the community by mentoring in programs like this. We also have a role we're calling navigators that understand how to get things done in government. These are the folks that really know navigation inside the agencies. So they'll be working with you. We talked about the sponsors, these agencies that are putting up the problem areas, these opportunity areas. They're devoting resources and their attention to solving the problem. They're available to help as well. And then finally, we've got our layer of management. So we talked about Sean's running the program. We also have folks that are available here that work with startups day in and day out to help you through the process, that help you, take a lean startup approach through this 3 months. So the resources that go into this, I can't stress enough, are enormous to help make sure that that 3 months is spent as effectively as possible on doing product market fit and user validation and growth. Okay? So as an entrepreneur, folks who are getting, looking to get into the team, you should certainly be asking yourself this question. So what's in it for me, right? And hopefully it becomes more obvious, but we're here to basically give our perspective on what's in it for you guys, right? Well, first and foremost, we think we're providing opportunities to solve some big problems, right? So we're kind of opening the kimono into some big issues in New Zealand, and you guys get in on the front level to solve them, right? If you think about it, from a beta customer perspective, central government's the biggest customer that you could possibly have in New Zealand, right? So you're getting in to help solve some big problems. You get unprecedented access to them. So that's part of this model. Getting access to not only team members who might be from those agencies that have seen the very problem from the agency perspective, but also the navigators we talked about, the owners and sponsors. We even have very good support from the ministers, Joyce and Foss on this, as well as the CEs for all the agencies. There's a steering committee of DCEs from all the agencies. There's another committee that has buy-in across the agencies that are all level 3, level 4 managers. They know all about this program, and they're all here to support it. They want to see this succeed. So there is no other opportunity, not even close, to get this level of access inside the agencies to solve these problems. You get mentorship, like we talked about, from some of the top mentors in New Zealand. We have the resources, there's money. So basically, there's $18,000 per team to cover your expenses, so you can afford to dedicate your time 100% to it. And you get an opportunity at the back end to pitch what you've done in front of all of these stakeholders, all these potential investors in solving the problem. So that's pitching for resources, pitching for money, pitching for what you need to continue going on the solution. So we like to think that there's a lot in it for the team members, but it's not for us to convince you, it's for you guys to be convinced. Right? So with that, I'll stop talking and I'll pass it over to Mike, and he's going to talk about the Rev Up.
So the idea is, of course, that teams, as Brett said, go into the R9 Accelerator, and unless you've all turned up as a specific team, you're probably going to think, how do individuals go from being an individual, applying, and getting into a team? And that's what the Rev Up event is all about. So my name is Mike Riversdale. I'm co-founder of an organisation called Hack Miramar, and we run hackathons. So this is a hackathon with a slight twist. So anyone been to a hackathon? Know what I'm talking about when I say hackathon? Cool, a few. So hackathons are built around the concept of bringing a whole bunch of people together around a set of challenges, in this case a set of opportunities from the agencies, and then having people work on those over an intensive but fun weekend. So that's what we're going to do. However, the goal of this particular event, of course, is to take you all as individuals and spit you out at the end as cohesive teams that would love to then apply for the Accelerator. And also, the second goal that we have is for those teams to have a deeper understanding of the opportunities. So you can read everything on the website, but having been through the weekend, you will then have a chance to meet some of those domain experts, some of those government navigators, and really get your teeth into something. So how does it work? Well, it works on a Friday evening, is where the fun starts, at the MB offices in State Street. Anybody know where that is? Everyone knows where State Street is? Yes, cool. We'll have a map, don't worry. You'll turn up. Most people turn up in that sort of, I'm not quite sure why I'm here, I don't know anybody, what am I doing? We'll feed and water you, and we'll take you through a process that will explain why we're here, who we've got in the room, and through self-forming teams, you'll then come together as a team around a particular opportunity that really drags your interest. And how are we going to get that interest out of those opportunities? The sponsors and the owners of each of those opportunities are going to pitch to you. So that's scary for them, because they've got to learn to pitch to a whole bunch of people, and they don't normally do that. And through the weekend, that concept of pitching is something that we're going to be taking the teams through. And at the end of the weekend, you'll have worked on something, you'll have taken your opportunity, and you will have said, we tried to do something. But as a team, this is how we worked. And at the end, you'll say, you will pitch yourself and say, this is us, Team X, and we would like to Go forwards to the accelerator and you'll have 2 minutes to pitch yourself. Or what might happen is you actually say, we as a team went through this and we just didn't have any designers. And we can see a few designers out there now, and we're going to pitch our team so that you guys will come and join us. So there's the concept of the pitch. Also, you will have worked on something, and we'll all get to see what you've done. So the idea of the weekend, which is on the 29th, the 30th, and 31st of January, at the MB offices, where we feed and water you, is so that you as individuals and everybody who is an individual come together as a team, a cohesive team, have an experience, a little experience of what the Accelerator is like, and then be very excited to go forward. That's what we're doing it for. And there'll be a magician, and we're going to have bands. So it's fun, because at the end of it, you may actually say, that's not for me. We tried it, we don't want to go forward, or some of the team don't want to go forward, and Hack Miramad's job is to gracefully hand over everybody to something, to someone. So you might actually have something that doesn't fit with the Accelerator, but an agency might say, can we talk to you? Because what you've done, how you've approached that is something we'd like to learn from, and our job is to hand over. The biggest handover, of course, is to make sure that you all apply to the Accelerator. That's our job. The event itself is free, of course. It's about 60% full. Can I just ask, who's from agencies, government agencies here now? Let's show of hands. We really want government agencies. We're getting a lot of entrepreneurs, external people, and also any devs and designers. We're calling out for those as well. So all you have to do is go to the link, put your name in, sign up, and you reserve yourself space. And then we'll see you on the 29th for a lot of fun.
Excellent. I love that there's going to be a magician. Just go there for that reason alone. So that link also you can find on the R9 Accelerator site. So you can get to the Rev sign up straight from r9accelerator.co.nz if you don't feel like scribbling that down. So let's go a little bit inside the 3 months. An accelerator works, kind of reiterate what I was talking about before, it works from the concept of first understand the problem area intimately. You can do that by learning from the agency folks, but that only goes so far. I mean, within a week's time, you're out the door talking to businesses. And you're listening for those same things that they're saying about, man, it's a pain in my butt to do this. Oh, I'm glad you came because I always have a problem with that. And as soon as you start hearing the same thing over and over, you know you're getting somewhere, right? You know that you've identified a pain point. It may be solvable or not, but it's something that you can anchor on, right? So this is when you're validating that there's pain out there and you've got some ideas for solving them. That's what the first month is about. Then you start working on solutions, minimum viable products, we call them in the lean startup world. And the second month is really all about iterating on that solution concept to the pain points that you've identified, right? You're still discovering, but you're learning and you're discovering through a solution concept, right? By the time you get to the last month, you're starting to figure out, okay, we're onto something, or maybe we're not, and we had to pivot to something else, but we've got to start figuring out what do we need to make this into reality, a product. How do we really solve the problem? What's scalable? What's the entity going to look like? Are we creating a startup? Are we doing a project? Are we doing a public-private partnership? Are we doing something else? You got to start laying that out, because when you pitch at the back end, you're pitching what you discovered, what solution you put in place, what kind of traction you're getting, and what you need to continue. So all of that happens in the 3 months. It's a very intense and fast-paced 3 months. If you can imagine squeezing that into 3 months. In most cases, that takes a year plus. In the government, we're not going to speculate how long that can take. That's all I'm going to say. It takes 3 months here. And we've been able to do it in 3 months, hence the last program. So that's really what you're signing up for. You're signing up for solving a problem, hopefully a problem that's very intriguing to you, that you feel like you can add something to in a fast-paced environment with an opportunity to pitch it at the back end. Doesn't mean that you're going to be getting investment, right? Not everybody gets it, right? But it does mean you're given every opportunity for it, all right? And all the support that you may need to prove or disprove that there's a solution out there. By the time you get to demo day, this is my other eye chart, apologize, you'll get to pitch to a panel of folks, CE level and investor level folks, private sector investors, as well as the agency sponsors, all of the folks that put up the problem areas, opportunity areas. And they will then make a recommendation to a due diligence group later on down the line, whether you should fund or not fund. There's a bit of money that's set aside to help this process. If you get a yes through it, like we talked about, there's further incubation potential. But ultimately, you're trying to get investment through a process that has a couple stage gates and is as expedited as we can make it. We can't promise miracles, but we're certainly trying to expedite the process. And part of that expedition is all of the sponsorship and ownership that we're working on right now with the agencies, preparing them to play their role in this process as well. So it's here again, I go back to, it's an opportunity for you to not only solve a problem, but for you to have alignment of interests with the very agencies that you would be solving the problem for, and continue to build it out till it's actually a viable solution. We have no preconceived notion of what is going to result out the back end. We don't come into it thinking, oh, well, there's a startup, or here's a public-private partnership in the making, right? We just try to introduce people in to solve problems. What emerges from that is what's the best outcome to solve that problem, right? It may be that you went and found a company that really wants to build on this, and you can take it to them, and they'll effectively take over ownership of solving that problem, and you can either work with them or you license to them. You know, that's a potential outcome. Certainly startups are a potential outcome. You can join together, go out and get outside investment, create a startup, make a go of it. You're a GovTech startup. It can be a public sector project. It can go back into the agency. Eventually, wouldn't advocate that it goes right back, but we can certainly incubate it until it's ready to go back, and it can be part of an ongoing initiative that they're doing in the agency, or you can create some sort of public-private partnership. One of the teams that came out of the last program fits this boat right here. They're an API marketplace that they're building a public-private partnership around. So any of these are potentials. So if you have an affinity for any one of these, anything's a potential, right? So I think the point here is that it's up to you guys. It's up to the teams to decide, well, how to best solve the problem and how to best create an entity that goes forward and solves the problem. Make sense? From here, we want to talk a little bit about the intellectual property principles and a little bit about contracting. Chrissy, do you want to shed some light on that?
Well, if I stood here, would I be under the camera? Oh, no, I'm not. I'd be short enough for that. Chrissy Little by name, Little by nature. So, yeah, my name's Chrissy Little, and I'm the overall project manager of the Accelerator. I work for the Crown. In particular, I work for Andrew Barsley. He's my boss. Hannah Sutton is on our team, so put your hand up there, Hannah. She's our master. She's on our Twitter and on our blogging, so when you're communicating with the project, the chances are you'll be communicating directly with Hannah. We've also got this gentleman, Carl, from our commercial legal team in MB, and he's here to answer any questions that you may have. I'm not a legal expert. With regards to intellectual property, we've taken a slightly different approach for this accelerator. We wanted to be clear right up front that the intent of the government is that it wants outcomes for its business customers, as Andrew was alluding to. That's the most important thing for the government, and so its intent is to get those outcomes. It doesn't really want to have an interest in the IP. It's not here. The government doesn't have any capability or capacity to manage IP, and it wants to make the IP as part of the package to attract entrepreneurs to the accelerator. The principles, we have a number of principles. They've all been loaded up onto our website. Is that right, Hannah?
Most of them have been, yeah.
Most of them have been radio.
There's a few outstanding ones.
Okay, so you should be able to find the intellectual property principles under the frequently asked questions, so if you're wanting to drill into them and understand a little bit more about what those principles are. But basically, the government is interested in the outcomes, and that IP will be as part of the compensation package for the entrepreneurs that work on the teams. So that's basically where we are with IP. Now, with regards to the contracts for team members, there's two types of contracts. We've obviously got two types of team members. We've got folks from government. For the government people that come and work on the teams, they'll be on secondment. So there'll be a secondment agreement signed between their agency and the R9 Accelerator project. So they'll be seconded to the project. For entrepreneurs, the contract arrangement will be a light GMC contract as done last time. So very similar to that. And there will be a team stipend paid to the team. When you make an application into the accelerator, you will need to explain how you wish to split that team stipend. Government workers are not entitled to that team stipend due to them being waged and salaried workers. So it is not a large stipend, but it's enough to cover your basic expenses while you are in the accelerator period. Obviously, when you get to demo day, and if you have a successful MVP that the Crown wishes to take forward, the other contracts will apply after that stage. So we're certainly open to answering any questions that you may have around that when we get to the end.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, we'll take, sorry I didn't say that.
Okay.
Take some questions at the end for sure.
Okay.
And point to make though, if you have specific questions, I already talked to folks back here, Samson, raise your hand. So he was in the first R9 program and was a seconded public sector employee. So if you have any questions, if you're considering that yourself, talk to him. Mike, on the other hand, was an entrepreneur in the first program. He knows all about the GMC Light contract. Crazy. So if you have any questions about that, we've got two folks here, and actually if Matt is around, he can probably go. Okay. We got two people that you can go and attack and ask all the questions you want about it. They've been through it. All right, so let's wrap up. Stop talking and start answering questions. Key dates to keep in mind. Rev Up is the most key one coming forward. Like Mike said, it's filling up. So if you want to be in it, get on it. Applications close on the 5th, so right after this, you finish up your applications. We're going to choose the teams by the 12th. We kick off on the 29th. So if you're anticipating being in this, tell your loved ones that from the 29th on, you won't be seeing them much. And we end in June. All right. And these are the steps to follow. Find an opportunity you like. Who has been on the R9 Accelerator, r9accelerator.co.nz website? Yeah? Okay. I encourage you to go on that site because all the opportunities are described there, and there's going to be more coming. Find an opportunity you like, right? You got to be solving problems that you like, that you're passionate about. Else it's not worth spending 3 months, Sean cracking the whip at you. He's a really nice guy. Register for Rev Up. Like we said, it's filling up. Come to Rev Up if you register. Don't register and not come. That's no fun. Then submit an application and request a secondment if you need to. Okay? So, that's the website. If we mentioned that one, please go there. You can also follow us on Twitter. All right, now we're done.